My beloved child, before you do anything else, pause for a moment and listen carefully. Don't skip this message. Something unusual has just surfaced, and it carries your name. A few minutes ago, a silent alert appeared in a system that almost nobody ever sees. It showed a transaction connected to your bank account, not a small one, not an ordinary payment, but a massive movement of money that shouldn't be there. The strange part is not just the amount, it's the timing. The signal appeared at a moment that almost feels intentional, as if someone, or something, wanted you to notice it right now. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and every second you listen will reveal another piece of a puzzle that was hidden for a very long time. My child, this kind of alert almost never appears without a deeper reason. Systems that monitor financial networks run quietly every day, watching billions of movements without raising a single whisper. But when an alert rises above that silence, it means something unusual has broken through the normal pattern. And today, your name appeared right in the center of that pattern. Don't skip this part. Many people would panic if they saw what was recorded beside your account number, but the truth is far more mysterious than fear. The record shows a transaction that was initiated from a source that doesn't behave like a normal sender. No ordinary bank branch. No familiar payment platform. Just a signal, and your name attached to it. Stay till the end, because what you're about to hear might explain why this moment found you. My beloved child, imagine a locked door that has been closed for years. Not days, not months, but years of silence behind it. Now imagine that door slowly opening, just a little, enough for light to slip through. That is exactly what this alert feels like. Something that was quiet for a very long time suddenly moved. The system tried to trace where the transaction began, but the trail doesn't lead to a simple location. It moves through layers of networks like a whisper passing through a crowd. Don't skip. If you leave now, you might miss the moment when everything finally connects. Because somewhere inside this trail, there is a clue that points directly toward you, not by accident, but by design. My child, there is another detail that makes this even more unusual. The amount attached to the transaction is not random. Numbers have patterns, and when experts study financial signals, they notice when numbers follow a rhythm. The rhythm in this alert suggests something prepared in advance. Something waiting quietly until the exact right moment. And that moment appears to be now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the deeper analysts looked into the signal, the more they realized that the transaction was not just moving money, it was triggering a message hidden inside the data itself. My beloved child, think about how rarely a person receives a moment that feels different from every other day. Most days pass quietly. But sometimes a single event appears that changes the direction of everything that follows. This alert carries that kind of feeling. The investigators who briefly saw it before it disappeared described one strange element: the transaction did not behave like a withdrawal, and it did not behave like a deposit. It behaved like a signal searching for its owner. Don't skip. Because if you stay with this message a little longer, you will understand why the system paused when it saw your name. My child, the timeline attached to the alert shows that the transaction didn't arrive randomly. It passed through several checkpoints before reaching the final system where it was detected. Each checkpoint normally verifies the sender, the receiver, and the purpose of the transfer. Yet at every stage, the same message appeared: authorization pending, awaiting recognition. That phrase appears only in extremely rare situations when a network expects the rightful owner to notice the signal. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next detail might be the most surprising one yet. My beloved child, a final scan of the alert revealed a small encrypted marker attached to the transaction record. Not a word, not a sentence, but a sequence that only activates when the message is delivered to the person connected with it. The moment this narration reaches you, the sequence has already done its job. That means the signal was not simply about money. It was about awareness. About making sure you heard this message at exactly the moment you needed to hear it. Don't skip. Because the last piece of this story explains why the system allowed the alert to surface instead of hiding it. My child. The truth is that the transaction appearing beside your name was never meant to cause fear. It was meant to capture your attention long enough for you to hear this reminder. Sometimes the most powerful signals in life are not the ones that arrive loudly, but the ones that quietly wait until you are ready to notice them. And today, something unusual appeared only to bring you to this moment of awareness. Stay till the end of this message in your heart, because something huge is waiting for you beyond this point, a realization that the path ahead may hold opportunities and surprises that were already moving toward you long before this alert ever appeared. My beloved child, if you are still here listening, that means you felt it too, that quiet feeling that something about this message is different. Most people would have already skipped away, thinking it was just another ordinary notification. But you stayed. And that is important. Because the moment someone stays long enough to listen, the next layer of the story begins to reveal itself. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When the alert first appeared beside your name, the system didn't close the case immediately. Instead, it continued watching, almost like it expected another movement to follow. Minutes passed, then another small signal appeared connected to the same transaction pathway. Not a second payment, but a confirmation request moving quietly through the network, searching for acknowledgement. My child. What made the analysts pause was not the request itself, but the direction it traveled. Usually, confirmations move back toward the sender. But this one did the opposite. It moved forward, deeper into the system, as if the transaction was trying to reveal more information rather than hide it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the moment they traced that pathway further, a surprising detail appeared. The transaction did not originate from a single point. Passed through multiple secured channels before finally arriving under your name. Each step looked intentional, as if someone carefully built a route that would end exactly here. My beloved child, imagine a message placed inside a bottle and sent across a vast ocean. For years it floats quietly through waves and currents until one day it reaches the exact shore where it was meant to arrive. That is how this situation looks to the people who briefly studied the alert. The timing, the pathway. The way the transaction paused instead of completing instantly, Everything suggests that the appearance beside your account was meant to draw attention rather than simply move money. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the next discovery made the entire situation even more mysterious. My child, hidden inside the system log was a timestamp connected to the moment the transaction became visible. That timestamp matched a monitoring cycle that runs only a few times within long periods. It's a quiet background process that rarely detects anything unusual. Yet during this exact cycle, your name appeared in connection with the large transaction record. That coincidence alone made the analysts continue watching the signal instead of closing it. Something about the alignment felt too precise to ignore. My beloved child, there is something else you must understand. When large financial movements appear suddenly, systems normally freeze them until verification is complete. But in this case, the system did something different. It marked the transaction as observed, not blocked. That means it was allowed to remain visible while the network waited for recognition from the account holder connected to it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this rare status usually appears only when a process is designed to attract attention rather than quietly finish. My child, the analysts who saw the alert only had a short window before the system cleared the visible log. But before it disappeared, one more piece of information surfaced. A secondary reference code appeared beside the transaction. It wasn't a typical bank reference. It looked more like a tracking key. The type used when a transfer moves through multiple stages before final confirmation. And here is the strange part, that key remained active even after the main alert faded from the dashboard. My beloved child, when something like that happens, it usually means the process is still continuing somewhere deeper inside the network. The visible signal may vanish, but the pathway remains open, waiting for the final stage. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because if the pathway truly remained active, that means the transaction was never fully finished. It simply paused at the moment it reached your name. My child, and this is the moment where many people would stop paying attention, assuming the alert was just another unexplained system event. But the truth is that rare signals like this often carry a deeper purpose. Sometimes they are reminders that the systems around us are far more complex than we imagine. And sometimes, they simply appear to make sure someone notices that something important may be unfolding behind the scenes. If this message reached you and you stayed long enough to hear it, then you already know one thing: this moment was not meant to be ignored. My beloved child. By now you may be wondering why this alert appeared in the first place and why the system allowed it to stay visible long enough to be noticed. Most alerts come and disappear without leaving a trace, but this one behaved differently from the beginning. It lingered just long enough to capture attention, almost like a signal trying to make sure the right person was watching. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because after the initial alert faded, the system did something even more unusual. Instead of closing the record completely, it created a silent observation log, a temporary space where movements connected to that transaction could still be monitored. My child, the people who briefly saw this observation log described it as quiet but active. Nothing dramatic was happening on the surface, yet tiny signals continued passing through the same pathway where the original transaction had appeared. These signals weren't transfers of money. They looked more like confirmations moving back and forth, as if the network itself was verifying that the right identity had noticed the alert. Imagine a door that opens slightly and waits to see if someone on the other side will step closer. That is how the system behaved. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the next moment revealed something even more surprising. My beloved child, inside that observation log was a pattern of timing that didn't match normal banking activity. Transactions usually follow predictable hours based on regions and institutions. But the signals connected to your alert appeared outside those usual rhythms. They surfaced quietly in small intervals, almost like pulses. Analysts sometimes call this a heartbeat pattern, a signal that indicates a process is still alive somewhere deeper in the network. And if a process is still alive, it means the story behind the original transaction may not be finished yet. My child, while this was happening, another detail slowly became visible. A reference tag attached to the transaction began interacting with other system markers. These markers are normally used to track complex financial routes across multiple checkpoints. But here's the unusual part: each time the tag interacted with a checkpoint, the system confirmed the same identity again: your name. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because repeating identity confirmations like this usually happen only when a network is ensuring that a signal has reached the correct destination. My beloved child. Imagine sending a message across a long chain of gates. At every gate, a guard checks the name written on the message before letting it pass forward. That is exactly what this system log looked like. The signal moved quietly from checkpoint to checkpoint, and every time it passed, the same confirmation appeared. Your identity remained connected to the record. That consistency is what made the analysts realize this wasn't just an accidental alert or a random system glitch. Something had intentionally followed a pathway that ended with your name. My child, now here is the moment where the mystery deepened even further. During the final observation window, the system generated a temporary flag labeled "Awaiting Final Acknowledgement." This phrase rarely appears in ordinary financial operations. It usually means that a process has reached its final stage but is waiting for awareness from the individual connected to it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the presence of that flag suggests that the alert wasn't simply about money appearing in a record, it was about making sure the person connected to the alert became aware of it. My beloved child, moments like this remind us how many invisible systems operate quietly around us every day. Most of the time they move information without ever touching our attention. But sometimes, very rarely, a signal rises to the surface and asks to be noticed. That is exactly what happened here. The transaction appeared, the pathway remained active, and the observation log continued monitoring until recognition occurred. Whether the story behind it is simple or complex, one truth remains clear: the alert reached you exactly when it needed to. My child. And as the observation window slowly closed, the system completed its final action. The transaction record was archived, but the reference pathway remained stored deep inside the network logs. That means the event itself may no longer be visible on the surface, yet the trace of its journey still exists behind the scenes. Don't skip. Stay till the end of this journey with me, because something huge is waiting for you in the final part. A realization about why this unusual signal chose this exact moment to appear beside your name. My beloved child, if you are still here, listening with patience, then you have already done something most people never do. You chose to stay. You chose not to skip. And that choice matters more than you realize. Because when the system finally completed its observation cycle, something quiet but meaningful happened behind the scenes. The alert that once appeared beside your name did not vanish without leaving a final trace. Instead, the network stored a closing note inside its deep archive, a note that simply confirmed that the signal had been seen. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the story behind that transaction was never just about numbers moving through a system. My child, the analysts who briefly accessed the archive noticed that the final log entry contained a phrase rarely attached to ordinary financial signals. The phrase was simple: recognition achieved. That means the alert had fulfilled its purpose. It surfaced, it captured attention, and it ensured that the person connected to the record became aware of it. In complex networks, recognition is often the final step of a long chain of processes. Once that step is completed, the system no longer needs to keep the alert active. It quietly stores the record and moves forward. My beloved child, think about how many things happen around us every day without us noticing. Signals pass through networks, messages travel across systems, and opportunities sometimes move quietly through paths we never see. But once in a while, something unusual rises above that background noise and asks us to pay attention. That is exactly what happened with this transaction alert. It paused the normal flow just long enough to bring you here to this moment. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because awareness is often the first step before something important unfolds. My child, if this message made you pause and listen all the way to this point, then it has already done its job. And if this moment made you think about the quiet signals life sometimes sends, then you have understood something many people overlook. Before we continue, take a second to support this message so others can hear it too. Share this video with someone who might need to listen carefully today. Leave a comment letting others know you stayed until this moment. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, subscribe so you never miss the next message that might appear unexpectedly. My beloved child, now let me tell you one more thing about the system that produced this alert. When an unusual event passes through a monitoring network, the system doesn't simply forget it. Instead, it studies the event later, analyzing the path it traveled and the response it created. The alert connected to your name will likely be one of those events studied in the future, not because it caused harm or danger, but because it behaved in a way that captured attention and then quietly completed its cycle. My child, the deeper lesson hidden inside this story is not about the transaction itself. It is about attention. In a world full of noise, the rarest thing someone can give is their full attention from beginning to end. And you did exactly that. Don't skip the meaning behind this moment. Because something huge is waiting for you whenever you choose to stay present instead of rushing past the signals life sends. My beloved child, If this message kept you here from the beginning until now, then you have proven that curiosity and patience still exist. Many people would have scrolled away long ago. But you stayed to understand the entire story behind the alert that appeared under your name. And that simple choice shows something powerful. When you remain present long enough, the full picture eventually reveals itself. My child, as this part of the story comes to a close, remember that some signals appear only once, quietly and unexpectedly, simply to remind us to look closer at the moments in front of us. Today you heard about an alert that appeared beside your name, moved through hidden pathways, and completed its journey the moment it was recognized. And now that recognition has happened, the system rests again in silence, waiting for the next rare moment when another unexpected signal rises to the surface and asks someone, somewhere, to listen carefully until the very end. My beloved child, if your ears and heart are still here, then you have already traveled further than most people ever do. Many would have left the moment things seemed mysterious or slow, but you stayed with patience, and that patience is important. Because after the alert completed its visible cycle, something else quietly unfolded behind the systems that recorded it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When unusual events appear in monitoring networks, they are not only stored, they are reviewed later to understand why they happened and what made them different from ordinary signals. My child. During that quiet review phase, the system compared the pathway of your transaction alert with thousands of previous records. Most alerts follow predictable routes and patterns, but this one carried a timing signature that made it stand out. It moved slowly at first, then appeared suddenly, almost like a signal waiting for the right window to be seen. Analysts often describe this type of pattern as a delayed emergence, something prepared long ago but revealed only when the moment aligns perfectly. And when that alignment occurs, the signal reaches the person connected to it. My beloved child. Think about how rare timing like that can be. Out of millions of routine records, only a few ever show a pattern that feels intentional rather than accidental. That is why this alert remained interesting even after it disappeared from the active dashboard. It became part of a group of rare events studied quietly by the network itself. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the final stage of that review revealed one last detail that explains why the alert felt so unusual from the beginning. My child, inside the deep archive, the system recorded the final state of the signal as completed after recognition. This status means the alert did exactly what it was meant to do: appear, capture attention, and ensure the person connected to it became aware. Once recognition happens, the network considers the process finished. But the pathway it followed remains stored as a reference, a reminder that sometimes the most unusual signals are not errors at all, they are simply events that completed their purpose. My beloved child, moments like this remind us that systems, signals, and information move around us constantly without asking for our attention. Yet once in a while, something breaks through the background noise and invites us to pause. And when we pause long enough, we begin to see how every part of the story connects from beginning to end. The alert that appeared beside your name did exactly that. It created a moment of awareness that carried you through this entire journey. My child, now that you have listened from the first moment until this point, you are among the few who witnessed the full message without skipping. Don't forget what this experience represents. In a world where everything moves quickly and people scroll past almost everything, staying until the end is rare. And that rare attention is what allows hidden details to reveal themselves piece by piece. My beloved child, sometimes the biggest surprises are not loud or dramatic. Sometimes they are quiet signals that guide our focus for a short time and then disappear once their message has been understood. The transaction alert connected to your name was exactly that kind of signal, brief, unusual, and designed to be noticed before fading back into the silence of the system. My child, and now, as this final part reaches its end, remember the journey you just completed. A mysterious alert appeared, a pathway revealed itself step by step, recognition was achieved, and the system closed the story peacefully. Don't skip the meaning hidden inside this moment. Because something huge is always waiting for those who stay curious, stay patient, and listen carefully until the very last word.